Well, I had sort of an interesting childhood. I grew up way out in the middle of the woods. My parents got divorced when I was 8 years old. I went and lived with my mother. When I was a teenager, I got into a lot of different stuff. I guess you could say I was I was the bad child. I was the one at school that nobody really would hang out with because I kind of hung out with the wrong crowd. I got into a lot of like new age stuff and things like that. But when I was 16 years old, I went to a church service and I gave my life to the Lord. And that was just such a radical change for me. My life did a complete 180. And I moved out of the house when I was 17. I moved out of my mother's house. I went to live on my own. And I went on a mission trip right after that. So I heard about Teen Mania and decided to come to the Honor Academy. Well, living on my own, I didn't have much of a structure, first of all. And I really liked the challenge of coming here and getting closer to God and learning more about myself. And I really wanted to know what God's vision for my life was because I had no idea. Like I've always known that God had a plan for me since I gave my life to him. I know he wouldn't have changed me so much if he didn't have something big for me, but I didn't know what it was. And so I really wanted to find that here. What it actually has been, though, is just stripping me back down to the basics, of knowing who I am in him and just being his child and not seeking so much to serve him, but just be who he's made me to be. I work in the Aquia the Fire Department, so I've been assigned a particular convention. Mine is the Baltimore, Maryland Convention, and I call youth leaders in the Baltimore, Pennsylvania area and invite them to Aquia the Fire, and sometimes I have to tell them what that is because they don't know, and I handle every aspect of getting them there, whether it's registering them or just encouraging them to come, praying with them, things like that. It was incredible. It made the 8 months worth it. We called youth pastors for 8 months to get them there, but we didn't realize what an impact we'd made until we were actually standing there and looking out on the crowd, and we saw 9,000 kids in there, and it was so incredible knowing that we'd made that much of an impact. For fun, I have a group of friends here, and I enjoy doing creative things, whether it's going off by myself and writing or drawing, but mostly for fun. I get together with a group of friends that I have here, and we play together. I play the guitar and write some music, and we hang out and just worship or talk. My favorite class is character development with Ron. The very first character development that we had was talking about your mind and spirit and body and disciplining your body, changing the way you're thinking, and making that line up with who you really are and who God has made you to be. In the beginning of the year, Ron described it as changing your way of thinking because over the years, I've just built up so many ways of thinking about the world and about my life, and it's just not right. The way I've thought in the past isn't right. And so character development, I see it as just tearing down the old way of thinking and building it on a solid foundation. Well, I'm not defined anymore by what I can do or my circumstances. My defining point is that I'm a child of God. And this year has really stripped me down to that basic fact that I'm a child of God. And so walking out of here, I know that that's who I am. And so wherever I go and whatever God calls me to, I'm going to be successful because that's who I am. Getting down to the essentials. Instead of being so caught up in what I can do or just gathering up all this knowledge about things that don't really matter, just getting back to who I really am and who God is. Learning that I can just trust him and let him love on me, and that's okay.